We need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here. 444 third way. Oh, turn.
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
Love that.
Show.
Hi, James.
Hi, Kelly. And people don't realize that's true. That opening is true. It's an experience that Kelly and I had. And Kelly
That's
drives
great.
just like
That's
that,
it.
and I get directions just like that.
Exactly. And I say, wee, constantly. How are you doing? Wasn't Friday night something?
Friday night demonstration was one of the most favorite ones I've had in so long. Thanks for helping out. It was so
I
great.
loved every moment of it.
So clear. I was just talking to Michael Mayo, who's our guest a couple of weeks ago, about that demonstration, and he said, "Boy, it really teaches you, even a medium working as many years as I have. You just got to jump in. You have to be very vulnerable and surrender, and just see what happens." And
Yeah.
the doll with no head, that was a pretty good.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was great.
You gave demonstration. We did.
No, it was great. You did so many, you helped so many people that night. It was just a fabulous night. Wow.
And you look great, Kelly. You look
Thank
wonderful.
you.
I love your pink. Looks
I'm in
great.
pink, and I was actually going to wear your colors tonight, but it turned
Like
out
gold and blue.
I was
Yes,
in a
you
pink
did.
mood.
There you
Wow.
go. Good. I
And we have
think
such a great guest on tonight, everybody. But if it's okay with you, James, I'd like to do a couple minutes of astrology.
please.
Okay. So
And today's February the 7th or 8th?
today's February 7th.
7th.
And as of today, all the planets are direct now. Yay. So that means there's lots of energy that's going to just flow through. So this is really the time to start up on those projects and get them done, because the energy is there to complete things and to get moving and go forward. And something really important, on February 11th, Mercury conjuncts Pluto. So what does that mean? It means that Mercury is going to be next to Pluto, and it's the third time in about a month, and it's the final time in a month. But what that means is Mercury gives us the ability to communicate and to comprehend, and Pluto gives us the ability for transformation. So on February 11th, when this really mystical experience happens on February 11th, that's on Friday. You have to watch your words, because words are powerful, and your words on this day are going to have a lot of power. And because both Pluto and Mercury are in Capricorn, it's going to give you that energy to shift your power and to restructure your life. And it really does bring on such a deep spiritual place for you to be, that I was thinking, James, I know that you are doing the spiritual life coach, and if somebody were to want to go into it, to spiritual life coaching, it's the perfect timing for that. And this happens to be on February 11th, because it really is going to allow the soul to learn everything you can about mysticism, occultism, astrology, psychology, and that those Capricorn aspects make you have the ability to make it manifest, to do it.
And responsibility, integrity. And let me ask you a question, Kelly. If something, let's say, was wrong, someone was wronged, and they got it, even if it's a legal thing or whatever it might be, an argument, and Friday you need to write a letter or say, is it a good day to right the wrongs?
Excellent.
I might send some emails on Friday. There you go.
It's funny you would say that. It'd be a great thing for that, because your words are going to have power. It's a power shift that day. It's really important for us going forward in February. So,
wow, thanks, Kelly. That was great.
You're very welcome. So we have such a guest tonight, and I thought I would read her a little bit about our
give
guest.
us our background.
Okay, so our guest is Jeralyn Glass, and she's an internationally acclaimed singer. She's a crystal alchemy sound healer, inspirational speaker, musician, and teacher, and she blends a classical career with meditation and transformational high vibration sound. She's performed on Broadway and on the opera and on the concert stages of the world. And she's worked with everyone from Maria Shriver and Marianne Williamson to Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and Anita Morjani. And how she started this path in 2015 when she lost her only son, Dylan, which we're going to talk about tonight, and she made her way through the darkness and through sound healing and through music. So I'd love to. And she also founded Crystal Cadence, which is a place for sound healing and transformational voice, and home of the Los Angeles Crystal Tones Singing Bowl. This is going to be an amazing. So please welcome Jeralyn Glass.
Hi, Jeralyn. Hi, Jeralyn. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. I'm so glad you could join us tonight.
Thank you so much. You both make me just smile.
Well, I think it's such a great story. Your background is so phenomenal. And when I first met you, I said we were talking about working together and working on our event that we have coming up. And I said, it's going to be with James Van Praagh. And you said to me, well, I know James. I said, you do? How do you know him? So please tell the story, because
Please tell how we know each other.
Yes. It's unbelievable.
In this lifetime, yes.
So I was privileged to be a guest speaker at the Compassionate Friends, which is an organization that helps bereaved parents and families, and at their national conference in 2017. And one of the ladies said, I'd like to gift you with a reading with someone who's so dear and so special to me. And it was you.
Wow.
So that's how we met. We didn't see each other face to face, but you sure helped me with your words. And you told me that I'd be writing some music. And I did indeed do that, James.
Wow.
So
and your son came through, Dylan, yes?
Oh, yeah. Big.
Yeah. So he came through and said, you're going to get in your, because Kelly mentioned this, you're going to go on your soul's path. I'm helping you on your path. And that often happens. Also, Jeralyn, that happens a lot, where many times I worked a lot with Compassionate Friends over the years. And so many times I've been told that souls, the children in this case, many times will go to force the parent to get on their spiritual path. And it happened with Marie Levine. I mean, it happened with her. She's a prime example, but it happens quite often. That's the way of getting on our path. And boy, you really should honor yourself for taking hold and really doing it. So good for you. So explain to everybody what you do, please. What are the things you do? Because you're like a magician over there. So
I just think sometimes I'm this funny lady. What the heck am I doing? I've been on the opera stages of the world and all kinds of things. And now I'm playing crystal bowls. And, that happened because on the night that Dylan died, I walked down to the ocean where I live here in Southern Cal. And I saw a huge shooting star. And I've never seen a shooting star in the city. It's too bright here in Los Angeles. And it was like, whoosh, and I could hear his voice, Mom, it's like we always talked about. I made it. I'm home. I'm with God. And it was like, whoa, you're in shock about the passing of your child, but to hear this vibration, that was the beginning of all of it. And it just began to unfold from there with him communicating with me. And so, as you said, like with Compassionate Friends, you come to realize it's not instantaneous, because grief is a process for all of us. Yes. But you come to realize that there is a bigger picture. There is a soul contract. And I told you, I tease, I just say to him, son, I don't remember signing that contract that you were going to go first. And if I did, in any case, when I see you again, we're going to have a talk about it.
It's very human of you, sweetheart. Very human of you. Yes.
So.
And you had a musical background, and he came through you in thoughts or in dreams, or how did he come through and communicate?
I started my career quite young on Broadway. So I did My Fair Lady with Rex Harrison. I was the youngest in the cast, and I played Rex Harrison's upstairs maid. And then I did Jesus Christ Superstar and Showboat, and I loved theater. I'd always been singing. From the time I was 11, I started taking singing lessons. So music.
Were you on Broadway at 78 to 70?
Later. It was later.
Later, okay.
Yeah. And I always knew I was going to sing. I always knew that music was, music is that language that vibrates our hearts. It connects us, and I got to live in Europe and obviously sing in countries and places where I didn't speak the language. And you don't need to. Music is that connector. It's vibration. And so, later after he passed, and he was communicating with me very strongly from the first night. And I noticed that when I was deep in grief, I couldn't feel him, because the grief was so heavy. It was so heavy. I couldn't find him. But when I would be able to open somewhat and receive him, he was right there.
Uh-huh.
So, I'd love to show you if you want to see.
Yes, please
Oh,
share.
please.
So, Renee, if you don't mind, would you please show the first? This was one of the first images that happened. Uh, he was a ski racer and we traveled because of my opera career. We traveled all over Europe, and so um, one of our things on our bucket list was to go to Machu Picchu. And so after he passed away, I said, "Okay, son, show me. We're going to go. Who are we going with?" And I opened the computer and Googled spiritual journeys to Machu Picchu, and Dr. Sue Morter came up. And I didn't know her. I Googled her and I watched her TED talk, and I was like, "Okay, son, but where's the shaman? Like, we should go with the native Peruvian." And he's going, "No, mom, she is the shaman. That's who we're going with." So we don't, this relationship as we had in life was very close. He was very brilliant and funny, and we'd make each other laugh. It continues now, but that's what happened. I went with Dr. Sue to Peru, and I was too much in grief to walk to the top of Machu Picchu, but she took this little picture. So I gave her his little picture, and she did a ceremony for him up at the top, and they photographed it and videoed it. And when you see the video, you actually see the beam of light come in the video. It wavers, and then it just goes.
Wow.
And they shot that picture. And when they showed me that, she was crying when they came down the mountain. And that changed everything for me. It really made me understand what quantum science tells us, that we are energy. We're energy that's compressed in human form, and we're actually made of sound, vibration, and light. And there it is,
Wow.
And well, that started this whole thing, and there's been so much communication from him through sound vibration. So as you asked me, like, another thing that happened, Renee, if you want to share the
Jeralyn, let me ask you a question. Was he into music when he was in the physical?
Yeah.
Okay, so that really helps too, that understanding. Okay.
Yeah, he had a deep experience with the bowls. So when he was 12, going on 13, he was in a vocal contest when we lived in Germany, and it was part of a kids foundation that I had created, and there was a yearly music contest all over Germany, and he entered it. And he made it to the semifinals. And the week before his semifinals, he goes, Mom, my voice is changing. And I had never helped a boy through his voice change at that point. I was a professor of singing, but and so I asked colleagues, and they were like, "Yeah, if you work carefully and you do these things, it could work." And so we took the bowls. So I don't know if you can see on the top shelf right above my head, there's a little yellow. Let me put my finger.
I see it.
Yeah.
It's a little yellow citrine bowl, and that's the bowl he used. And what I really discovered later is the citrine activates your solar plexus, your personal power, and the note is the note of the G. It's the note of the throat. And that's the bowl he used, and he hummed and he toned, and then he sang his contest. It was brilliant. And he stood up and he said, "My name is Dylan, and since 1 week, I'm no longer a soprano." And, I don't know how you were during your voice change, but, it can be a pretty terrifying time not knowing if your voice is going to creak or crack or what's it's going to do.
Yeah.
He was so confident. And then he sailed into his program, and it was like, I can't believe this. So he knew the bowls. He knew them very, very well. And when he was really little, I'd bring him to bed and he'd say, "Mommy, play me my sound blanket." So he loved those sounds. And I wasn't into this whole world, but we would pray together. We would do little meditations about the colors of light and the chakras, but it was very innocent, So after he died, 5 months in, after what that happened in Peru, he said to me one day, "Mom, call the bowl dudes. We're going to do sound healing." And I'm like, "Leave me alone. I'm grieving you. Leave me alone." And it was insistent. It was 3 days in a row. "Mom, call the bowl dudes. We're going to do sound healing." And that's what I did. I got on the phone and called Crystal Tones and spoke with one of the owners and told him what had happened. And that started my journey I ordered 11 bowls, and I chose bowls that I thought could help me with my grief. So I chose selenite, which is grounded white light. I chose things that I thought, what could connect me? I chose celestite. It'll connect me to the celestial realm. I mean, I went from my head and my heart, but it was like, what could possibly help? Ruby for transformation, rose quartz for the heart. And then I started to play those bowls when they came, and especially the selenite bowl. He was in the room with me. And I mean, this is your world, but I saw a misty white substance in the room. I saw him, I felt him, and he guided me how to use the bowl and play with it. And I began to cry and scream and groan and keen in a way I was not able to grieve in regular grief therapy, where I was just talking about it. And that I'll never forget. After playing the bowl for about an hour, I got up to wash my face in the bathroom, and I saw for the first time there was light in my eyes. There was joy in my eyes.
My God.
It brought movement to you. It moved you. It moved that energy, huh? It moved that energy through you.
Because when we're that heavy, we don't know what to do with it. We don't know what to do with it. It's so overwhelming, you know.
You feel like you're in a room with the walls all around you. You can't get out of it, right? Like a tunnel, you're trapped in a way.
But I knew if I didn't do something, you know, and here was this angel guide that was a gift, and it happened to be my son, but it was like, Mom, you know, get it together, Mom. It's not going to go on where you lay in your bed the rest of your life. It's not going to go like that. You know,
and do you help other parents in grief or other grieving people? Do you go out and talk and make talks and do healing work with them with your bowls?
And cancer patients. It started with cancer patients just because I had a connection to the cancer support community. So it's a organization where they help cancer patients and their families with natural things and support groups. And I offered to do sound healing with crystal bowls, and I'd never done it before. So I wrote myself a script. I just thought, if I don't get out of my bed, I'll never get out of my bed. I mean, you know, it was that bad. It is, you know, and that's how it started. And the cancer patients loved it. And what I noticed was that the sound became love. The sound vibration was the vibration of love. And whether they were grieving a life that wasn't going to be anymore, or family member or a partner, whoever it was in relation to the cancer, we were the same. You know, it was the same feeling of, what do I do with something that feels so big and there's no words for it? And yet you hear this sound and you go, wow, it takes you in those places where you can't go yourself. The sound is music, and the music is heavenly. It's exquisite. I remember asking Anita Morjani when she heard the bowls, you know, I asked her, is this the kind of sound you heard when you had your near-death experience? Are these the sounds you hear? And she said, it's very close. They sound like angels. There's something it was a gift to me, and something I knew in my life, something Dylan knew in his life, but it took a whole nother turn.
Let me just, because I'm so curious, if you don't mind me just jumping in here with these questions. You know Greg Braid, you met Greg.
Mm-hmm. I played for Greg a number of times. Mm-hmm.
Love Greg. Greg's a soul brother. Greg is such a soul brother.
I love Greg.
I just think, I think I told you this earlier, but you know, how many people go through life and they don't live their soul's truth? They don't live what their soul came back for, because whether they're fear-based or they don't want to jump in. And I honor you for doing that, because you not only were you in grief, but you're going down a road which you really didn't know much about, but you were just totally guided with faith. And, you know, good on you for doing that. But that takes a lot of courage. You passed the test. You know?
There was one moment, because I had an 8-page script, okay? And I would turn the pages, and it's like, oh, Jeralyn, I'm glad their eyes are closed, you know? But it was like, if you don't do something, you're going to keel over and die. And finally, I got to a point where I said, throw the script away.
Right.
Who cares? Yeah. Who cares? Right. Just open your heart and just share your music. That's the thing. And then that's what I meant. There was love in the space, and it has stayed. That's the expression of music. And that's what feels.
Wow. Can we see another one of your pictures? Because these pictures are
they're pretty
phenomenal.
Amazing.
Sure, Renee. So this was a situation where my niece was pregnant, and she was in the hospital at UCLA, and the baby was not well. And so I was driving home from UCLA hospital, and I just started yelling at Dylan at a stop sign. Why can't you be here? Why? Everybody in our family loves you. We need you here. And this popped on my car screen and started playing. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I'm like, I grabbed my cell phone and took the picture, because it was like, if you could talk to me, son, you're talking to me. You're talking to me. And then I read it back home, favorite, unknown artist, unknown album, source, and then the numbers, the sacred 9, the double sevens. It was just like, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm not going to yell at you anymore. I get it.
And I love it says source. I love that source, right? Wow.
So
But, Jeralyn, you're also very open. You're so open too. I mean, thank God you're so open to this creative energy and all of that. You're ready to receive it. Yeah.
But James, do we have a choice? So I recognize there was one moment where I stood in his room and I banged on my chest until I turned myself black and blue. And I thought, I'm going to go in the kitchen and get a knife and it's just going to be over. And then God be praised, I called my mother and I said, Mom, I'm losing it. And she said, if you take your life, I'll kill you first. And it sobered me so much in that moment. It was just like, okay, Mom, I get it. I get it. I get it. I can't go that way. You can't become a victim of what life gives you. And you've got to find the way to understand there is a bigger purpose, mightier than us. And maybe in this little body, we don't see it. But if we can somehow open and let that light in, then you go, oh my gosh, there is a divine plan. Yes. And, of course you wish your child or your partner or, when you lose someone, of course you wish you could spend, a lifetime with them. But as you said about Marie, it's not always your soul's contract. It's not your fate.
Right. It's very, very true. And the darkest moments, the hardest ones are the ones sometimes that are the most profound, and that light comes through. And I was writing this last week in a blog that, the hardest to crack a little to let the light out. Heard that. And I definitely know it was a contract with you and your son. There's that soul group that, we don't know until we pass over, maybe another lifetime. You left early and he'd learned what that was like to lose somebody and so forth. And, we grow together. We don't grow separately. We all grow as one group. We grow, soul growth for all of us. And I just know that you're to be really honored for following through with your soul's work,
Yeah. Because that experience has opened up so many for even just the people that are watching right now. Your story with Dylan and Dylan's work is still so profound, and your work is so profound.
Children too, Kelly. Parents of children.
There was that moment where really just feeling like you got to open to that. You've got to be able to sit in the grief. You can't push it away. You can't run away from it. But sound became the medium that, like that first time I used the selenite bowl, it created a sacred space. And suddenly I was safe to breathe and feel the grief that I wasn't able to before. And then suddenly it was holding me. And the sound was like what he said as a child, Mommy, bring me to bed with my sound blanket. That sound became my blanket. And I'd love to show you what this other photo.
Yeah. These photos are unbelievable, everybody.
So I studied with Jonathan Goldman. I'm sure you know Jonathan is one of the sound healing pioneers.
And of course, I know Jonathan Goldman. My goodness, I play his music all the time. Yeah.
So, I did an intensive workshop with him, and I worked with one of his sound healers, and she gave me a session, and I told her, I have this trip planned to India. It's called Heart Songs in the Himalayas, and I'm going to go with, I know the person leading it, but I don't know anyone else. And I said, I'm nervous. I don't want to go to India by myself. And she said, Jeralyn, it's all going to be good. You'll understand when you get there and when you come home. And so, Renee, if you'll show the rainbow picture, this blew me away. So you see in the top right, I'm going in this little plane from Delhi to Ladakh to Leh up in the Himalayas. And we see this rounded rainbow and everybody's taking pictures of it. There was actually a group from Thailand that were on a photo safari. And then it moves closer to the plane and I'm snapping it. And I get off the plane and I look and I see his little face. It's like the face of a child, but he's got his sunglasses on like a big
Yes.
in the center of that rainbow. And I can't speak. It's just like, I can't believe it. And when I get back and I send the sound therapist from Jonathan's group, the picture, she said, Jeralyn, he was present during the sound healing. And he said to me, I'm going to give my mom an unmistakable sign.
I would say so. Wow. They look like there are other beings like around that rainbow. There looks like other faces there. a man with a mustache and glasses and an ear, and how much of it is clouds, but I see images too. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, what did you think of that?
It's just mind blowing.
How long ago
spirit
was
works.
this? How long ago was this?
This was 2016.
Wow, wowee,
So
wowee.
about a year after he passed.
This was a year after he passed. And the road on grief for everybody, it's different. And I would say that it took me really a good 3 or 4 years to not have that horrible, horrible ache. So when that picture was taken, I was in the throes of it. Like I was still deep, deep in processing, like, why my son? Why this? Why? And so whenever those signs would come and they were profound, it just was like a balsam, and then to be able to use the music and the crystal bowls with that it was a balsam. Like, Mom, you're on the right path, and you got to know this is unfolding your magnificence, my magnificence, and love is eternal. It doesn't stop when we die. It just doesn't. And yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was just say that. I'm sorry, Kelly. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm just thinking I should say this. I mean, and I've said it 3 times, my third time today, because I think for me, people often ask me, "Oh, you've done so many years. Are you over it? Are you?" And I'm like, no, because it's the intelligence of that spirit world, that what they do behind the scenes, the strings that they pull, that we humans have no idea, but just that manifestation of that. How he comes through, and then he comes through you. Just what goes into all that is just incredible. That it puts you in awe. It's awe-inspiring.
And that you were so open to receiving, and that's what made the difference here when you opened up. Because when you're in such grief, it's really hard to feel and see things.
We were really close. I mean, I remember when I was carrying him, I was doing a series of the Ninth of Beethoven, so the Ode to Freude. The Ode to Joy, and there was 9 concerts in a row, and I was very pregnant, but I felt strong and healthy all over. It was all over Europe, and then he came early, and I was like, "Okay, Mom," And then when he was a little boy and the baby, when he'd start crying, I'd put on that da da dee da dee da 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 da. I'd put that music on. Silence. Silence. He'd be, crying, silence. And it was like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't know, these things they're so interesting to me, how music really is that language that goes beyond our thinking mind, how music has the ability to still our thoughts. And you really can allow yourself to drop into a place that becomes a place of healing. And I think for all of us,
the language of the angels, isn't it? Music is language of the angels, they say, and those higher realms. I think also, Jeralyn, that, which I think you've already done this, or you're already in tune there, that if you want to go to higher realms with your sounds, you're open to going, gosh, anywhere. So it's amazing.
Did you notice if any of your sound with your bowls, has it changed along your path here?
Great question.
Yes. And what became so, because first, as a classical musician, it's like, okay, as I started to dive deeper, does citrine really work on your solar plexus? Does rose quartz really work on your heart? Like, come on, is this stuff a little bit woo-woo? But what I came to discover was the bowls played differently every single time. And it depends what's going on inside of you. So when I was playing that selenite bowl, it sounded like nails on a chalkboard when I was processing the grief at the beginning. And it was just sort of like, ah. And then I recognized it's reflecting, it's amplifying what's inside of me that I can't get out. Oh my gosh. So there's been times so we have coming up now, World Sound Healing Day from Jonathan Goldman is on February 14th. And 3 years ago, doing a World Sound Healing Day meditation, we were doing something about the ancestry. So we're doing about the father's side and the mother's side of your genealogy. And I was playing this huge Saint Germain bowl, and it's a deep, boom. And that bowl started screeching. It had such a high overtone on it. And I recognized, at first it startled me, but I recognized it's going in and it's helping to dislodge stuff that's happening for people in the father's lineage, whatever that was. So I just kept playing it. And it was like, oh my God, this deep, low bowl is screeching. Okay, I trust. And you learn when you connect, I think, to the world of sound and the world of what I call the ineffable, that, as you both know so well, you have to trust.
Yeah.
You just have to trust.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing. I'm going to just turn the volume down right now because we have other things to do that are spirit and soul and not just that.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions. What's your birthday? Are you Scorpio? No.
Sagittarius.
Oh, my favorite sign, Sag. Very good. Very good. December, Sag, or November?
December 7th.
Okay, yeah, my favorite sign. And a question I have for you, which might sound weird, but are there, because we know chakras have certain vibrations and frequencies, are there certain notes that are your favorite notes?
Great question.
Whatever that means, what, like the harmonics of a certain note, have they stayed the same? Like, I don't even know what the heart chord is, or
So you'll hear when I play, because I grew up in music, and music is really my language, and that was Dylan's language too. He played the piano and he sang. When we use certain intervals, so when we use the interval of twinkle, twinkle, when we use the perfect fifth, that's a very consonant stabilizing interval. So like when I'm working with the cancer patients or people in grief, I'll especially use that interval, which is a distance between two notes in music. And that creates this stability where suddenly you go, your mind is still, you drop into feeling, who am I? What's my soul? What is this? But the mind is quiet, and certain notes will give you a consonant feeling or a stable feeling. I'll always tease and say, oh, that's my favorite. And then, the next time I play another set, that's my favorite, because they all do something different. And I mean,
because we're fluctuating too, right? We're always fluctuating, and what your needs are different times. Okay.
I mean, I know some people say like, you have one note that's yours. And
Right.
like when I would sing, there'd be certain notes that I like those better, but I have to say now, I don't feel that. I feel open to when I'm playing really high notes, they're above the body and they're connecting me to the celestial realm. When I'm playing really low notes, they're deeply grounding, or they're even below the feet. And so they're anchoring us to the earth. When I'm playing middle octave notes, it's centering in your body. So you feel, But for me, the important thing is that it's harmonic, that it sounds well together, because in that creates safety. And then the safety is that, I can let go. And then, people will tell me so many different things. Like, I'm just thinking of one time, one woman, I was playing a lepidolite bowl, and lepidolite is a natural form of lithium. So it's a very,
I've never heard of it before.
You've never heard of lepidolite?
No, ma'am.
It's a purpley color,
It's for balance.
Yeah,
I just came from the Gem Show in Tucson. You think I would have heard of it?
But
it's a mind blower in itself, right? But no, there were stones I've never heard before, so that was one of them. I've never heard of that.
Lepidolite is really, so like, if someone has a mental imbalance, or they're just feeling unstable or depressed or bipolar or anything like that.
Lithium, which is a medication.
Right. It's a natural form. And so if we think about the quartz is pure quartz, and then whatever is added to it, the alchemies that are infused at 3,500 degrees or 4,000 degrees, they get amplified, and you receive that energy. So I was playing a big one. And I had like 20 bowls. And after the sound bath, one of the girls came to me and she was crying, and she said, "What's that bowl?" She pointed to the lepidolite. And I told her it's, for mental balance. And she just said to me, and she just said, "This is the first time in over a year that I've been able to feel anything." She said, "My sister was murdered, and I could not, she just said, that bowl of all the 20 bowls, she picked that bowl out. She picked that vibration out. And she said, it held me. It comforted me in a way that I have not felt in over a year."
Wow.
It was just
amazing.
So, yeah. We never can say, I mean, we have a thing like, I'll say, okay, a bowl prescription, but it's not really that, because you might find on one day lepidolite is it for you, and on another day smoky quartz feels really good. Or you might find that the note of the heart is really great, but maybe the root is the note that is really resonating with you. I mean, did you know we're so multifaceted, multidimensional beings that to pin it to one thing, I think if it's taught me anything, it's taught me to be present.
So when you're about to do an
I-
event, do you feel the room? Do you feel the energy of the people? Do you feel
To the
the
center
balls?
yourself, ground
Do the
yourself.
balls talk to you? And I mean,
Yes,
How
yes,
does,
and
how
yes.
does that work? What's your procedure? What's your ritual?
Well, like for example, I'm thinking of the one event with Greg. It was scientists, mystics, and sages with Greg and Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and Anita, Dr. Todd. So it was a incredibly powerful, and there was 1,200 people in the room, and I had brought 2 sets with me, so big sets. You know, there was probably altogether over 30 bowls. But then when you feel the room, you feel okay. I'm going to start first with that rose quartz, and I'm going to really ground them. And then I'm going to, I mean, so I have my orchestra, and I always have my orchestra or orchestras, like different tunings, different notes. And then you just, I mean, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking I played for Anita during that event, Anita Marjani, and there was 2 cryon bowls that I had. And the cryon bowls played like nobody's business. And they had never played like that. They had never played like that. So I knew that someone or many in the audience needed that vibration. But that's what'll happen. A certain bowl will take off, or suddenly you hear a harmonic between 2 bowls and you go, oh, wow. And I was teasing with Renee when we were doing our sound check. There's certain sounds where I just say, I'll stay there. Thank you. I'm done. I'll stay there for the next 48 hours. There's something that is so exquisite and so it's like when I first heard the bowls 15 years ago, I just thought this is a song I know. I know that vibration. Whether it is truly from the soul level that this is the kind of music we hear, but it was my soul knew the sounds of those bowls. It recognized it and it was like, this is it. This is my core. This is it.
I have a question. Sorry, being the Virgo I am, I always ask questions. It's just amazing. First of all, every word you're saying is just like wow. Have you felt been aware, besides Dylan, of other guides, other beings who come with you when you're about to perform a healing? Have you felt them? And if you have, what do they feel like? And have they changed over the years? Tell us about that.
Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, I never talk about that. I guess probably because my son is so strong, and he was big and it's like a mom, but yes. So sometimes there's soft energy like a Kuan Yin type of energy.
It takes a team to be with you, lady. I think it would take a team to be with you, right? Because they got to deal with the energy of the group that you're working with as well, and your own.
Yeah, but I always say a prayer, and I did this as a singer, before going on the stage as a classical singer, you're using your body. So your body is your instrument, and you train your muscles so that you can project your voice over a 100-piece orchestra in a 3,000 seat hall, right? With no amplification. So I would always say a prayer of let the light that I am, or, pray with God to let that light then be amplified, right? So it's the same. That didn't change for me.
Right.
It's just there's more guests. there's
more guests.
There's more friends.
Great way of putting it. There's more guests. Yeah, it's very true. And you become more aware of the more guests because you're opening up your room, right?
Yeah. And I don't know how you both feel, but I have never, someone's asked me these questions. I have never felt anything that's not loving. It's like I set a parameter that only the highest good, the highest light, the highest presence of love is with us now. And I've never felt like a scary energy come in or anything like that ever. I don't know if
that's James and I talk about this all often.
And we had Michael Mayo, who was a medium, and we had him on recently, and he described it really, really well because I asked him that question because people have evil, possession, all that stuff. And he said, it was a great response. He said, well, it's got to go through people's filters, their belief systems, that stuff, which is really, really true. So, and that's exactly it. It's all love. It's just about love. Fear is human, false ego appearing real, but it is all love. I mean, imagine that with such a short time on this earth to peel back the layers of love, right? All that, and you get it with the sound all the time, all those different, the nuances and all that energy that's there. Imagine that worlds within worlds within worlds within worlds. And it's great to discover those worlds of love.
Sometimes I think, I'll play and record stuff and I'll think it's been 5 minutes and then I look at the clock and it's been 25 minutes. It's like, oh my gosh, where have I been? What has happened to me? But I really like to say that it stills your mind in such a way because your mind goes, this is beautiful. And then it's quiet, and then everything's still inside you. So for many people who can't meditate, it's such a beautiful way because suddenly they're crying or they get in touch with something that they haven't thought about for years, or suddenly I've had many a time people will, and sometimes I'll sing with the bowls and they'll say, my grandma was here. Oh, my grandma loved that song. Like if I sing Ave Maria or something, so they'll get all kinds of different experiences that they couldn't reach if their mind wasn't quiet. And the music does that. It just...
And you know what I think, Jeralyn, also? I think through meditation, through the sound thing, it puts them in an altered state of consciousness. It brings up their vibration to that other level. And there are many ways of getting that altered state of consciousness. And I think music, sound, that does it. That does it. And what a great instrument you are for doing it. I just got to say that over and over again. You're a great instrument for doing it. Because not everybody could do it. Not everybody could be a sound healer. Not everybody could have that sensitivity, if you want to say,
and that compassion that came with such a deep, profound loss. That was the gift to everybody in the world.
Yeah.
One day I said, thank you. I said to my mom, what has happened to this professor, opera singer, classical musician? I am playing crystal bowls. I have become a woo-woo.
She found herself.
She's like, no, dear, you're helping so many people. But it's like, sometimes you go, really? But it's like, yeah, really. And so I've been passionate about finding out what is the science behind it. Like,
it's not about you, Jerry, it's not about you. It's about the rippling effect. Think of the waves of music, the ripples. All those ripples affect millions of people, even those you don't see in the room. And people that are in your room are going to tell somebody else and the experience about somebody else. So you're affecting ripples of millions of people, your work. So it's really important.
And you're hitting people on the deepest level.
Yeah.
It's really, your work is profound. And I'm so grateful that you're going to be joining us this Saturday.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about this, shall we?
Because you're so perfect for this because we're doing the COVID event, and it's really about people who've had loss with COVID, people who have had grief, they've been isolated, there's trauma. And we're going to be talking about it from a spiritual standpoint of what have we learned during this period? What does this even mean? We're going to talk about it from a psychological standpoint with Dr. Jeralyn Glass about giving tools to help people with grief or tools to help people with anxiety or depression and to move them forward. And then James is going to be doing a healing meditation. And we're going to have dialogue.
Jeralyn and I can do something together, healing.
Well, that would be the best, totally. And then I know you're going to do some incredible work with for a healing event for all of us. So please, everybody, join us if you can on Saturday. And if you're not able to participate live, if you purchase it now, we will send you the link once it's recorded.
And it's Kellee. It's on your site, kellywhite.com.
It's on kellywhite.com, and it's also on your site, vankrog.com.
Yeah.
So please join us because you're incredible. This is really going to be something you don't want to miss. It's going to be an awesome experience.
You know what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not just going to say, I know you're going to do a little demonstration, but you were talking about the glandular system, the endocrine system earlier before we got on. And if you could just talk a little bit about that and then maybe do a little demo or something that would.
Sure. Sure. So, and I do want to show that one little postcard. If
you guys have got to see this. You have to see it.
It just sort of brought everything home too. But I'll explain that when we use the Okay, so this when I was traveling as an opera singer, Dylan and me were apart a lot, and I would write him postcards daily. And when I got home, he had this little gift for me. Dear Mom, I love you, and I'm so glad to see you again. I've missed you very much. Just remember, always let God's light shine on you, and you'll see me. Much, 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 much love. And after he passed away, and I found this in my possessions, I was like, oh my gosh, did he know?
Yeah.
Did he know? Some level of him he knew.
Absolutely.
Remember, always let God's light shine on you, and you'll see me.
Was that soul contract between the two of you?
Yeah.
And then the rainbow showed up after this. Just saying.
Yeah, it did. And so what I like to teach, part of the science behind the sound is when we use the white notes on the piano, technically those correspond to your chakra system. Okay. And when we use the 5 black notes on the piano, that creates what we call pentatonic scale. And those correspond starting with the sexual organs, with your adrenals, pancreas, with your thymus, your thyroid, parathyroid, and your pineal pituitary, just to, give it a quick one over. But the notes that you're going to hear on the table are those black notes. And I've arranged them in different octaves. So you'll hear deep ones, you'll hear centering ones. So the deep ones will be very grounding, centering, and then you'll hear ones that are very accelerating, that really take you into that celestial realm. And I think it's important when we're working with healing, to be able to say, okay, I'm grounded, I'm stable, I feel at home within myself, I'm centered, and I'm also open to all possibilities, because that's what we are. We're all possibilities, right?
Yeah.
And if the sound can kind of hold us in that container, that space, then everyone goes on a very unique and personal alchemy journey,
And Jeralyn, the best way to receive this is to close our eyes and just let things be. Is that how?
Yeah, I mean, it's to sit in a comfortable place and close your eyes. And I love to invite you to breathe like deep in your belly, so that when you slow down your breath, you begin to help slow down your thinking mind. So I will go to my
I'm gonna turn my camera off.
So close your eyes, and you're gonna hear these alchemies. So this one in the center is what we call a Zestulite. And a Zestulite is a beautiful stone that really connects us to our higher self, to the I am presence. So that's kind of at the center of the set. And then there's Moldavite, which is star bridge. There's Yagna, which is clearing karmic debris. There's tourmaline, black tourmaline, which is protection. So there's joy in this laughing Buddha. But you're going to hear a very profound binaural beat. And James, you said that, earlier, that binaural beat is helping to balance the right and left brain. It's very, very powerful. So I'll invite you to close your eyes and slow your breath down, take some deep breaths, and away we go. Long, deep breaths deep in your belly. And I invite each of you to set an intention. Set an intention for healing. Receiving the pure sound of love. Receiving the vibrational frequency of love. And gently rubbing your hands together to generate heat. Feel that electric presence that you are. And then gently stroke your scalp. Tenderly caress your cheeks. And just begin to tap. That you feel yourself back present in your body. Take a good stretch, and that was a mini sound bath.
Wow.
That was amazing. That was amazing, Jeralyn.
Wow.
How'd you do, James? Did you feel that everywhere?
Well, you can't describe it. Fractals of light. I don't know. I was trying to think of words, but the words don't even do it justice. Like fractals of light. I felt energy, like temperature changes, heat and cold, and rings around me. And I saw colors I've never seen before. Wisps of colors I'd never seen. I couldn't describe it as purples or green. Wisps of colors I'd never seen. I just got to say thank you for that and everything. It's the whole world, isn't it? Worlds and worlds and worlds.
So like the big bowl, that's a low D sharp, which means it's deeply grounding. So for example, what we're going through now with the COVID, it's deeply grounding the adrenals, pancreas, where we would experience fight or flight, where we would have rushes of cortisol, right? And that alchemy of that bowl is the divine feng shui. So it's got 6 alchemies in it. So it's all about balance and harmony in the home, in the environment, in the body, in the spirit, in the mind, So, and then it's deeply grounding us at that D sharp. So, and I was curious that you said colors, because imagining when you have that perfect balance in the home, then there's so much possibility to see. I don't know. I just was connecting the two things of being able to be totally centered and grounded and balanced and safe. And then suddenly you have the ability to go into the beyond and see perhaps what you haven't seen
When
before.
when I first started opening up, developing as a medium, one of the first images and visions I remember is opening up like almost like a forest, like that, like looking like that. Just it's exactly what you're describing. It's like that expansion. Yeah.
Anita, I felt spirit around everywhere. Spirit. Anita says, wow, that was more healing than I've had in the last 10 minutes than in the last 8 months. So thank you very much. Some people saw flowers blooming. Lizette said she felt a powerful vibration in the palm of her hands up to her spine.
Mm-hmm. That's chakra 11, the electric body. Where all the nadis are in the hands and the feet. So that's wonderful. Activation.
I had pulsations in my face and heart, warmth through my body. Wow.
You have obviously CDs, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will become your newest fan.
Right, I know.
You live in Southern California, right? You live in Orange County, or where do you live? In LA?
South of the airport, south of LAX. So
I'll be there tomorrow.
I know.
Cool.
Yeah, it's amazing, sweetheart. And thank you for being the instrument to bring that light to this dense place. Really. Of course, you have to be attached to go through that. I mean, you have to be. Come on.
Yeah, because you have to be able to have the freedom, and you have to be able to actually make the leap, and you did it.
And the travel. Worldly wisdom to this experiences. It's this.
Wow. And everybody, if you'd like more of this event,
Saturday,
Jeralyn, join us on Saturday with James and me and Dr. Shirley and Jeralyn, and it's going to be quite a weekend on Saturday. So please come and join us. And thank you, Jeralyn, for everything. I so appreciate it.
Hang on, we'll talk to you after the show.
Don't go away. Yeah. Thanks, Renee.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week, everybody.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.
The James and Kellee Show.